Man, the AFC is absolutely wild right now, and we need to break down everything that's happened since the trade deadline. The Kansas City Chiefs might just be in the driver's seat, but don't sleep on the other powerhouses lurking in the shadows. And let me tell you, what's happening in the conference right now is going to change everything about how these playoffs shake out. You know what's crazy? From the Bills in Buffalo to the Steelers in Pittsburgh, every team has their eyes set on that top spot, and each one has made some fascinating moves. But the real question is, who's going to make the top of this AFC race and how the Kansas City Chiefs stack up against their biggest competition? A real competition. What's up, buddies? Welcome back. If you are new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We cover all AFC West news here on this channel. Man, everyone is focused on the Chiefs being 8-0, but there's this one team that nobody's talking about that could flip the entire AFC on its head. And no, it's not Buffalo. It's not Pittsburgh. By the end of this breakdown, you're going to see exactly why the AFC playoff picture is way more complicated than anyone realizes. Let's kick things off with the obvious Kansas City Chiefs, currently sitting pretty with an 8-0 record. Pretty damn cool. But here's what's actually insane. They're winning ugly. They're grinding out victories without looking particularly great. And that should terrify every other team in the NFL. The Chiefs weren't exactly out there making blockbuster deals, but let's be real. They didn't need to. They've already made a couple of notable moves leading up to the deadline. Bringing in DeAndre Hopkins at wide receiver and Joshua Uche as an edge rusher gave this roster the depth and firepower it needed. Hopkins in particular has been a game changer. He stepped up on Monday night with 8 catches, over 80 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But watch the film of that game. He was getting open all night long. Mahomes missed him on at least 3 other big plays. The chemistry is just starting to click. Then they've got Joshua Uche coming over from New England. Everyone kind of slept on this move, but watch what he did last week. 2 crucial pressures, solid against the run, and he's only scratching the surface in Spags' defense. And you know what is the scariest part? He's basically just a bonus piece in a defense that's already top 5 in scoring. Have you noticed what truly separates the Chiefs from the rest of the AFC pack? I have analyzed them. This team has the best record, yet many analysts believe they haven't even hit their full stride. Just imagine, they're winning games without really playing their best football, and if this team manages to elevate its game, their defense numbers are insane. They're allowing just 15.9 points per game. That's best in the NFL. Chris Jones is wrecking offensive lines. L'Jarius Sneed is shutting down #1 receivers. And now Inside News says Isaiah Pacheco is set to make a comeback. Come on, man. What's left for them? They are 8-0 for a solid reason. But here's where it gets really interesting. Look at their schedule coming up. They've got Denver this week, and no disrespect to Sean Payton, but the Broncos' offense is averaging just 21 points per game. Russell Wilson's completion percentage under pressure is 47.8%, worst among starting QBs. And against this strong Chiefs pass rush, good luck with that. The real test comes the week after, at Buffalo. Now that's going to be interesting. That's probably the toughest matchup they'll see all season. November in Buffalo, temperatures probably going to be in the 30s, wind whipping off Lake Erie, and Bills Mafia tailgating since 6 a.m. That's the kind of environment where crazy things happen. Can you recall what happened last time these teams met in Buffalo? Josh Allen went absolutely nuclear. 329 yards, 3 touchdowns. But that was against a different Chiefs defense. In this season, the unit allows just 176 passing yards per game. Entirely beast mode. After that Buffalo game, though, the Chiefs' schedule opens up like the Red Sea. Carolina, they can't decide on a quarterback. Raiders on Black Friday, they're already thinking about draft picks. The LA Chargers, Brandon Staley's probably updating his resume as we speak. Let me give me a detailed analysis on the Buffalo Bills because something special is brewing in Western New York. They're sitting at 7-2, and they just got significantly better. Amari Cooper comes in, and suddenly this offense has a whole new dimension. Do you remember when was the last time Josh Allen had a true X-receiver who could win one-on-one matchups consistently? And Cooper's not just any receiver. He's got that veteran savvy and knows how to find soft spots in zone coverage. Josh Allen's numbers in the last 4 games are ridiculous. 1,258 yards, 11 touchdowns, just 2 picks. That's MVP caliber stuff right there. And above all, what makes Buffalo really interesting? Von Miller's coming back. Remember him? The 8-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl MVP, arguably one of the best edge rushers of his generation. and he's joining a defense that's already the top 10 in sacks. That's like adding a flamethrower to a bonfire. But the problem for Buffalo is even if they beat KC head-to-head, they're still playing catch-up. After Indy this week, they've got that Chiefs game, then San Francisco, then LA, then Detroit. That's 4 playoff contenders in 5 weeks. That's rough. The Bills might not be able to snag the top seed away from Kansas City, but they're definitely a team to keep an eye on. Let me tell you about another opponent the Chiefs have to face is the Steelers. They are making waves. Currently sitting at 6-2, they're another AFC team that's been on the rise. Thanks to Russell Wilson timely stepping into the starting quarterback role. Wilson has revitalized this offense, and with the addition of Mike Williams and Preston Smith, they've got some extra firepower to work with. But Pittsburgh's schedule is also something to consider here. They've got Washington this week, and Ron Rivera's team isn't the pushover everyone thought they would be. Then Baltimore, who's playing like they've got something to prove. Cincinnati's getting Burrow back to form. Philadelphia's still dangerous. That's a gauntlet right there. Another strong competitor of the City Chiefs in AFC is Houston Texans. They are also sitting at 6-3. But they lost Stephon Diggs for the season and didn't make any big moves to replace him. I don't understand why. Without Diggs, their offense already looks sluggish against the Jets, and the rest of their season isn't a cakewalk. Detroit this week, and those Lions can score. Dallas after that, and even without Dak, that defense is no joke. Then you've got Jacksonville twice in 3 weeks. Trevor Lawrence might be inconsistent, but Doug Peterson knows how to scheme against rookie quarterbacks. It feels like the Texans might have missed their shot this season if they don't find a way to make up for Diggs' absence. Now, let's discuss the real threat I mentioned in the beginning of this video, the Baltimore Ravens. Man, if you're not paying attention to what's happening in Baltimore, you're missing something special. Yeah, they started 0-2. Ancient history. Since then, they've been absolutely demolishing teams. Let's break down why the Ravens are scarier than their 7-3 record suggests. First off, that running game is a problem. They're averaging 156.7 yards per game on the ground. Lamar's looking like his MVP self again. 2,177 passing yards, 412 rushing yards, and he's making better decisions than ever. His completion percentage under pressure is up to 64.3%. That's the best in the league. The defense? They just pitched a shutout against the Broncos, held them to 17 total yards in the first half. That's not a typo. 17 yards. Kyle Hamilton's playing like a heat-seeking missile. Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen might be the best linebacker duo in football, and now they add Travis White to that secondary? Good luck throwing on these guys. The Baltimore Ravens narrowly defeated in the last match against Cincinnati Bengals 35-34 in a thrilling Thursday night football matchup. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry were key contributors, with Jackson connecting on a crucial 84-yard touchdown to Tylan Wallace. The Bengals put up a strong fight, with Burrow and Chase keeping things close, but a failed 2-point conversion sealed their loss. This win boosts the Ravens to 7-3, solidifying their lead in the AFC North. So here's how I see this whole thing playing out. Chiefs are probably going to lock up that 1 seed. Their schedule's too favorable, and they're too good at winning ugly games. But come playoff time, watch out for Baltimore. They're built for those cold, nasty January games where everything slows down and it comes down to who can run the ball and play defense. Buffalo's going to be dangerous. They always are. But that schedule might be too much to overcome. Pittsburgh's going to Pittsburgh. They'll probably win games they shouldn't and lose games they shouldn't. And Houston? Man, they're going to look back at this trade deadline and wonder what could have been. But here's my bold prediction. Ravens versus Chiefs in the AFC Championship. In Arrowhead, in January, Lamar Jackson versus Patrick Mahomes. That defense versus that offense. Tell me you wouldn't watch every second of that game. You know what's crazy about the AFC right now? We haven't even mentioned teams like Jacksonville, who's quietly putting together a solid season, or Miami, who can score 40 points any given Sunday, or even the Browns, who might have the best defense in football when Myles Garrett's going nuclear. Drop your predictions below. Who's making it to the AFC Championship? Are we sleeping on anyone? Remember to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. Until next time, keep watching football.